One, if you're new, my name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Oh boy, a lot of great stuff going on, and yeah, I know a lot of great stuff, and we're starting to get the real polls, and got a new one here that I'm going to get to in just a moment. But here's what's starting to happen with all of the polls. Okay, we're getting really close now, really close to election day. And most of the polls are just total garbage. They don't care. They're fake media push polls that the media has done by themselves so that they have something to talk about in the news or push people in a certain direction. But then there are some that are real pollsters, right? And they want to be accurate. And because being accurate is how they have credibility as they move forward as pollsters, right? And if they just give what the media want, which are polls that show that whoever the Republican is losing all the time, when the next election comes around, people don't point to them and say, look, they predicted the last 3 elections, and now they're saying this. They want to have some credibility. So as we get closer to the election, some of the more credible polls are going to start coming out with accurate polling information. So we're starting to get that now. Now, the first one I want to talk about is Nate Silver, who the media tell us is the gold standard. Nate Silver is the gold standard. Whatever Nate Silver says, that's the way it is. And he's been right all these times. They're not talking about Nate Silver too much right now because he is starting to give us some real information. So in the latest Nate Silver Electoral College forecast, it's been updated. Trump, who was ahead in the last forecast from Nate Silver, is up even more. This is the Electoral College win chance from Nate Silver. Trump is at 58.2% chance of winning to Kamala's 41.6, giving President Trump 16.6 points of an advantage. That's it. That's why you're not hearing them talk about Nate Silver. I know, it's incredible news. It's incredible news. I know, isn't that huge? 16.6%. That Electoral College, so that's really a national number, a national poll. So, I know, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? Absolutely it is, yeah. As opposed to all these fake polls from Fox News and everything. And now here's another one. This is in the New York Post. It's also being reported in the Gateway Pundit. Here's the headline in the Gateway Pundit. Pollsters who were dead on in the last 2 elections drop a 2024 update. Kamala Harris should be terrified. Listen to this. This is the article. If Kamala Harris's mojo fading? ? 2 pollsters who got the last 2 elections right say that it is. And they say Donald Trump has an edge in the battleground states. Now remember, the battleground states is where it's at. That's where everything's decided. That's why Trump is in Pennsylvania tonight with Sean Hannity, because he's putting a lot into Pennsylvania. According to the New York Post, Insider Advantage and Trafalgar Polling, they surveyed 7 battleground states and predicted the GOP nominee would end, that's Donald Trump, the GOP nominee, would end up with 296 electoral votes if the election were held today. And remember, you only need 270, right? So they're predicting 296 according to the latest poll for Trump. And that's before the debate that he has next week with Kamala, where he'll clean her clock. That's before the J.D. Vance debate with Tim Walz next month, where Tim Walz will get his clock cleaned too by J.D. Vance. So 296 electoral votes for Trump. I know, this is amazing. Matt Towery of the Georgia-based Insider Advantage found Trump ahead in Arizona, Nevada, and North Carolina, down only 0.4 in Georgia, the New York Post reports. So, that's well within the margin of error. And Arizona's an interesting one. That's why you're seeing the media bring out John McCain's son all over the place today. It's not just to try to get this Gold Star family narrative going in a different direction, but they're worried about Arizona. Matt Towery went on to say that both he and Robert Callahey of Trafalgar, which handled Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, were both in the top 3 of the pollsters in 2016 and 2020 election cycles, because their methodology allows them to pick up some Trump votes that some of the other pollsters might not be able to get. Because MAGA people, we get a call from a pollster. Most of us aren't going to talk to them, right? You think they're the FBI trying to, get you doing something. All of the states were within the margin of error, it's worth noting, but the Harris momentum has stalled. That's right. The momentum that we were seeing after the DNC convention has come to an end, Towery said. As for voter enthusiasm, which was up on the Democrat side because they got rid of Biden, it's now turned around against Kamala Harris and for President Trump. Here's another one. This is in Breitbart. According to the latest polling from Democracy Institute, Donald Trump, this is in Breitbart, Donald Trump has opened a 3-point national lead over Kamala and a 5-point lead in 10 key battleground states. I know, this is huge stuff going on here. So these are all the latest polls, and the trend is all in Trump's favor. Donald Trump is gaining serious momentum in 10 key battleground states, reports the Daily Express U.S., who commissioned the poll. Data from the Democracy Institute shows Trump is favored by 5 percentage points over Kamala Harris at 50 to 45. The battleground poll was taken on August 28th and 29th. It was across Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wisconsin. The national poll surveyed likely voters over the same period. Yeah, I know. So, keep in mind, this is before the debates. So, all of the momentum is in Trump's favor, no doubt about it. He is really, really kicking butt here. Oh yeah, this is awesome news. No, these are not lies. These are stories, and if you follow me on X, Twitter, Brian Craig Show, all these stories that I just went through are posted there, so you can read the news stories yourself. I'm just reading the news stories in the pollsters. So no. You may want to call them lies, but these are factual news stories and real polls. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. Absolutely. Yeah. And, this town hall with Hannity, I hope Hannity lets the people ask questions. In the last election in the town halls, Hannity didn't let the people at the town hall ask too many questions, and I'm hoping they can. I'm curious to what they ask about, all right? I know what Hannity's going to ask about, same old stuff. It is incredible. It is incredible. There's no getting around it. It's awesome. It doesn't get much better than this. Now, of course, there was a tragedy at the school today. You well know about this. And Kamala Harris, if the media did their job, which was report on the Democrats the same way they report on the Republicans, they wouldn't be called fake news. So they're fake news for a reason. And, we had another tragic school incident today. And I want to play you this clip. This is Kamala Harris. And I played this, a week or so ago. But now it's more relevant than ever, especially on a day like today. Listen to this. This is Kamala Harris.
And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools, and taking police officers out of schools. We need to deal with the reality and speak the truth about the inequities around school discipline.
Oh my goodness, school discipline. Okay, school discipline's racist, she says, and she doesn't want to have armed police officers in school. They're militarized. Now, if you don't have police officers with guns in schools when something like this happens, there's no one to stop them. The schools are just wide open. And that, by the way, was in 2020. I know, she's a complete idiot. Well, the thing with Kamala, she's got a lot of problems. I mean, her main problem is she's a bird brain. She's stupid. I mean, that's her first problem, right? But she's got some other problems, too. She's got a lot of problems. If I went through all of her problems, this would be like a 24-hour live stream. But some of her other big problems, other than she's just stupid, is that both of her parents were Marxist, right? So she was raised by hardcore Marxists. Marxists are all in favor of gun control because the Marxists can't come to power if everyone's armed, okay? Any place in the world where there was a revolution, whether it was in the Soviet Union or in Cuba or any of these places, as soon as they take power, they go around and grab all the guns. That's just the way they do it, okay? So that's the mindset. And plus, since she grew up in Canada, born in Berkeley, grew up in Montreal, these are they don't have guns in Canada like we have in the United States. They don't even have them in California like we have in the rest of the country. So she doesn't understand, growing up in Canada, she doesn't understand the American way of life. She doesn't understand our culture and our traditions and everything else. And one of those traditions is the Second Amendment and having guns. And having police officers with guns in school helps. Yeah. She has no choice but to debate now. Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is she so... And this is a real question. Is she so stupid, Kamala Harris, that she doesn't know that she's going to get creamed, right? Is she so out of touch with reality, being a bird brain that she is? Does she think she can best Trump? Or does she know she's going to get creamed? Which would you guess? Yeah, that's a hard one, isn't it? Absolutely, it's a hard one. When someone is that stupid, do they know it? You think she knows? ACB says she knows. Oh, yeah, totally creamed. I mean, would you... She knows. Okay. Renee says she knows. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons she was trying to keep the mics on. Mm-hmm. Defund the police. Defund the police is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's hard to believe that that's like a thing that leftists are serious about. Who wants to defund the police? Criminals. Yeah. A lot of ego. She has too much ego to know. Yeah. It's hard to say. Well, Yeah, that's right. I saw a meme today that was a really good one. Listen, it's again, all this stuff is on my X, Brian Gregg Show. So if you guys follow me there, all the things I talk about on any of my streams and podcasts, everything's right there. There's this meme, and it's Kamala Harris. Remember when all the Democrats were going to black cultural centers and churches 4 years ago, and they were kneeling and they would have like that Afrocentric Tashiki patterned scarf on. They would take a knee for George Floyd and everything else. They have a picture of her. This is the meme. It's her kneeling down with that dashiki pattern thing around her neck, and it says this. Listen to this. Kamala Harris took an 8-minute knee for George Floyd and helped bail out protesters. Meanwhile, she couldn't be bothered to show up for the anniversary of the troops lost in Afghanistan. That's pretty powerful, And, the thing about Kamala Harris, one of her other problems, other than being a bird brain and, raised in Canada and raised by Marxists and all of this, is Kamala really stands for nothing, right? This is what J.D. Vance is talking about with the childless cat lady stuff. what Kamala Harris is at any moment in time, like
I come from a long line.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Hold on, Kamala. Oh yeah, this next soundbite, you're gonna love this one. This is insane. Like all she cares about is this: what can I say right now to the group in front of me to get their support and applause and approval? She's not thinking about 10 minutes from now. She's thinking about right now. So, and she's really done nothing for the last 4 or 5 years other than speak in groups to groups that's all recorded and give interviews. And whatever the group is, she tells that group what they want to hear. So she says all this crazy stuff. And, you know, this is some of the most damning audio and video we've ever seen from a presidential candidate because it's so recent, right? Most of the time when things come up, it's from years ago. Like a lot of the stuff with Joe Biden is from 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's relevant because, but it's a long time ago. This is recent stuff. This is Kamala Harris telling a total BS story about her grandmother in India. This is in 2017, okay? This is before she came out as African American. She's Indian here. Listen.
I come from a long line of tough, trailblazing, and phenomenal women. My grandmother would go into villages in India because she was Indian, lived in India, and she would go to the villages in India. It was a famous story in our family. My grandfather would say she was going to be the end of his career. But my grandmother would go into the villages with a bullhorn, talking with the women about the need to have access to reproductive health care.
So I don't know what year this would have been, right? Kamala was born in 1964. So we're talking about, it had to be before that, right? So it had to be the 60s or the 50s. So there's an Indian woman, she wants us to believe, is going around with a bullhorn. And at that time, bullhorns, they weren't electronic. It was just like a tube thing you yelled at. We're going around there. And what do they speak in India? What do they speak in India, Kathy? Do you remember? Indian? Do they speak Indian? What do they speak in India? No. What do they speak in India? What do they speak in India? I'd ask Kamala, but she probably doesn't know. Hindi. That's correct, Hindi. So there's this woman in the 50s or the early 60s going from village to village in India in a bullhorn, which is basically just a tube because they didn't have all that electronic stuff, talking about the need for abortion in a very religious country like India. Come on. Yeah, she was with Mother Teresa. Yeah, Mother Teresa going around shouting for abortions. I mean, that is the most... That's like a corn pop-like story, right? That's like some story Biden would come up. My daddy in Scranton was going around with Mama, and they were on the bullhorn talking about a need for women's health care. Give me a break. They had bigger problems in India in the 50s and 60s, right? Like electrification, running water, flushable toilets. They didn't have a lot of time to worry about abortions. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, she's a sad person. Her whole life, her whole life is such a lie. I don't think she knows what's real and a lie anymore, right? There's someone at the door. Who's at the door? Kathy's checking the doorbell camera because I'm streaming on the phone. Sounds like a salesman. Right? It's a salesman. Salesman? Yeah, it's a salesman. You know what I've learned about solicitors? They don't know what no soliciting means. We're not answering the door. I'm sorry. I'm not answering the door for some strange dude. Go away. So, Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I love people who have a dream.
Okay, okay. This is Al Sharpton, and he is with, of course, Joy Reid. And I haven't played any audio from Joy Reid in quite some time. You know, she's pretty irrelevant. And you notice she stopped wearing the Trump wig, right? Remember that guy went up to her about a month ago and said, "Hey, you got Trump's hair," and she stopped wearing the wig. And I think that maybe Joy Reid didn't realize that she was wearing a Trump wig. And before I get to this, Kirky says, answer the door. It's Amazon. I don't answer the door for anyone that I don't. Amazon can leave the package at the door. And no, you don't want to answer the door for anyone. I know. Isn't it nice to be able to look at the door, Kathy, and see who's there? That's right. You don't have to get up anymore. Yeah. Okay, so here's Joy Reid talking to Reverend Al Sharpton. And the last I checked, Reverend Al Sharpton, he still does not have a church, right? Does he have a church? Or does he just go and speak in other people's churches and they pass the plate around for him? But this is Al Sharpton. He's sitting down with Joy Reid. And, of course, they're talking about what Trump voters want, which is me and you, right? You guys Trump voters? Al Sharpton, Joy Reid, they're talking about what Trump voters want, right? Now, we know what we want, right? We want to make America great again. We want to have the southern border shut down. We want to stop having illegals rape and murder our women. We want to stop the war with Israel and Hamas, the war with Russia and Ukraine. We want to bring gas prices down. We want to bring inflation down. We want to be able to afford groceries, right? I mean, these are the things, you know. But Joy Reid and Al Sharpton, they think we want something else. Listen.
I love people who have a dream. I am not knocking her having a dream. I'm just saying Simon Cowell used to tell folks on American Idol, this might not be your dream. You can have a dream, but this might be it. This might not.
Is she talking in accents too, Joy Reid, now? Or is this how she always talks? I haven't listened to her in a while. Is she doing like Kamala?
Be the appropriate dream for you.
It might be a nightmare. And probably, though, when she looks at how their campaign is unraveling, and her Donald Trump, her candidate and relative, is become unhinged. You said it right. We would be demanding the 25th Amendment if Joe Biden said anything remotely as unhinged and just totally incoherent as that. But he is going around
Trump.
Still high in some polls, not where he was, because Kamala Harris has certainly unseated him as the front runner. Mm-hmm. But he is certainly still being able to, for other reasons, have this grip on a lot of voters that think this is the only way to bring America back to the days before women had rights and blacks and browns and other people of color had rights.
Okay, so Donald Trump wants to take us back to a world where blacks, browns, did he say women too, don't have rights? Okay, let's go back.
Still being able to, for other reasons, have this grip on a lot of voters that think this is the only way to bring America back to the days before women had rights and blacks and browns and other people of color had rights. And now he's imagining, hallucinating that children are being made to change their gender.
In school.
In school with the instruction of their teachers. And we're acting like this is a serious candidate.
Right.
Okay. Now, first of all, Trump's right to say that, okay? You know, what's happened is when I was in school, like when I was in high school or middle school, and this is probably true for some of you guys, when someone felt like an outcast and they didn't belong, what did they do? They went goth, right? They went goth. They don't go goth anymore. They changed their gender now. And we have seen so many, thanks to libs of TikTok, we've seen so many school teachers making TikTok videos in their classrooms showing their gender affirmation flags and all of this stuff. So school teachers, without a doubt, have been normalizing and brainwashing, okay, kids to think that, well, maybe you were born the wrong gender, and a sex change operation at the age of 12 or 15 is the right thing to do, an irreversible procedure. Okay, let's go back here. I'll rewind it just a little bit.
Grip on a lot of voters that think this is the only way to bring America back to the days before women had rights and blacks and browns and other people of color had rights. And now he's imagining, hallucinating that children are being made to change their gender.
In school.
In school with the instruction of their teachers. And we're acting like this is a serious candidate.
Right.
Or like this is a serious threat to this country. I think that we are seeing a man absolutely becoming other than his best self. And even his best self wasn't great. But he's lost the ability to even think while he's talking. It just comes out.
Yeah.
It's like a baby just spitting up. And I think that because of that, even his most ardent followers have to scratch their head.
Oh, really? His most ardent followers are scratching. That would be me. You got any of you guys, MAGA? Are you scratching your head? I don't think so. The only thing you guys are wondering is why am I playing clips of Al Sharpton and Joy Reid? That's the only thing you're scratching your head about. Yeah, circus performers. Yeah, they're idiots. Yeah, Tawana Brawley. Exactly. Did you see this story about the training they gave to the agents protecting Trump? Did you see this story? Did you see this, Kathy? This is crazy, okay? Did you see this? When I first heard this story, I couldn't believe that it was true. I mean, I knew it was true, but it's so insane. So they took most of the Secret Service away from Trump, right? So, this was in Butler, and what they gave him was, these very short, lactating ladies and stuff. They took some agents that's right, 2 hours, Lou. They took these agents from other federal agencies and under Homeland Security and attached them to the detail in Butler, and they didn't know what they were doing. They received 2 hours of online training. And it was a disaster. Not only did they only get 2 hours of online training. You ever get a job when you were a kid, like at a retail store, and they show you like a video, about this? That's what they did. They showed them a video presentation for 2 hours, and it wasn't even working. They couldn't even get the sound to work. And then they said, here you are guarding a president of the United States. And, no one could convince me, and I would imagine most of you agree, that Deep State was behind this whole thing. I mean, how could something be so stupid? How could something be allowed? And, we've seen all these videos of the shooter. Have any of you been to Trump? I've been to so many Trump events, and there's security everywhere, okay, at the events I have. The security here was so loose. I've never seen somebody be able to walk around and climb on top of buildings before. And to have him protected by incompetent agents with 2 hours of video training, it sounds like a joke, doesn't it? But, the one thing about that whole day, though, that just is how he came out right on time. He never comes out on time. I mean, I was watching his rallies over the weekend at his events. He was late. He's late for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it's security reasons. Sometimes he's backstage taking pictures and meeting with all these VIPs and things like this. I don't think I've ever seen him come out on time on the dot like that. And when there's a Trump rally going on, I'll turn on Right Side Broadcasting on the TV, and then they'll tell you, okay, Trump expected to speak at 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. comes around, he's not there, and they change the graphic to Trump expected to speak soon. And I just start doing stuff around the house. I keep it on the background, and when I hear Lee Greenwood, I know it's time, right? So all right, let me get in front. And in Butler, it was right on time. Lee Greenwood and Trump came out. When have you ever seen Trump come out exactly on time on the dot? It's almost like he had to be there at a certain time, right? Exactly. It'd be interesting to see if somebody could go back to all of the Trump speeches and find out what percentage that he was on time on the dot like that. It's got to be a single digit. I mean, like right on the dot. No, these hats are not made in China. Or it's right there. People say, all these trolls always say that right there. Made in USA, right there. Okay? Right? Made in the USA. But you know what? So what? What device are you watching me on? Your computer, your phone, your iPad? Where was that made? It was made in China. Right? Everything's pretty much made in China today. What are you going to do? Except these MAGA hats from Trump. They're made in the USA. Yep, that's right, Key Lime. Yeah, let the trolls. They may learn something, the trolls. You never know. You never know. But now, over the weekend, a clip came out of Kamala with Al Sharpton back in 2020 talking about reparations. Now, she won't give what her current position is on reparations. Have you noticed that? Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? I think it's because that video from 2020, 2019, whichever year it was, surfaced, and they got a lot of negative feedback from it. And they don't want to talk about reparations because a lot of liberal blacks that support reparations are pissed off that the illegals are getting a free retirement in this country. And they view that as their reparations being taken from them. Yeah, exactly. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, all right? And everyone who's already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video, if you don't mind. I would appreciate it. Now, there's something interesting going on with Tim Walz today. And this one, this just broke today, okay? This just broke today. And I'm not exactly sure what to make of it yet because it's just breaking. But, oh, you just subscribed 8 minutes ago, Kirky. Well, welcome. Thanks for subscribing. Tim Walz got a subpoena. What's that? Oh, yes. Tim Walz just got a subpoena today. And this is a very interesting one. Listen to this. Tim Walz was served with a subpoena on Wednesday, that's today, as part of an ongoing investigation into his state's handling of federal child nutrition programs and the large-scale fraud associated with the Feeding Our Future scandal going on in Minnesota. This is Pepsi. Oh, you okay, Pepsi? Oh, Pepsi knocked over something, so he scared himself. Pepsi, don't be scared. You can come back. CR just gifted 5 memberships. Thanks so much. That's right. Now remember, who got the memberships? JP, Mikey, Save the Doggos, Samuel, Army Mom. You got the memberships. Now remember, if you have a membership, you get your name in green, and you get access to all the cool emojis. So thanks for doing that, CR. I appreciate it. So he got served this subpoena today on the campaign trail, of all places, over this fraud going on in his state. Now, this is a big thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money in those federal programs. Our one cat is Pepsi, and the other one is Coca-Cola. Come here, Pepsi. He's watching me. Let me see if he wants to come. Come here, Pepsi. He's watching. Come here. He knocked something over, so he got nervous. Come here. Come here, Pepsi. I had him on over the weekend. Here he comes. Here he comes. Pepsi. Come here. There he comes. Hey, there he is. Say hello. Hey, Pepsi. Whoop. Don't move the camera. Here, I'll show you guys, Pepsi. Come here, Pepsi. This is Pepsi. Hey, Pepsi, you want to talk? Okay, all right. And then here's Luna. Got all the cats here. No, I'm not a single cat lady, okay? I'm married, I have a kid. I have cats too, but I'm not a single cat lady or cat guy. No. Well, anyway, so we got served this subpoena for some... Oh, what, now you like being on YouTube, Pepsi? Look at this, he can't get enough of it. That's right. He wants to be a star. Now, I want to throw this out to you guys, because this is a pretty heavy-duty thing. You know, when you look at local politics, as corrupt as they are in Washington, at the local level, they're even more corrupt. See, now I got 2. I've got Pepsi here and Luna over there. We're just missing Coca-Cola. Okay. They all want to be on YouTube. The local officials are just as corrupt, okay? And he wasn't served a subpoena for nothing. Someone's been committing fraud with the federal lunch program in Minnesota. So why all of a sudden is this happening? Why do you think? You know, Tim Walz has had a... This is Luna. Hey, Luna. Now they're both here. Luna. I'll show you guys Luna. Oh, no. Luna jumped down. Pepsi's playing with the mic. It's hard to stream with cats, I must tell you. They're very curious about the camera and the microphone. No. Oh, my goodness. He is grabbing all of my gear here, so... Watch out, Pepsi. He's playing with the camera stand now. The cats love the spotlights. Yeah, they love the spotlight. They absolutely do. So anyway, hold on. No. He's trying to pick up the microphone. Tim Walz. Hold on. Oh my goodness, this stream could go south real quick if he gets a hold of the camera. Well, Tim Walz had a disastrous Labor Day weekend. So did Kamala. I mean, they both had problems involving similar things, right? Military families, military people. With Kamala Harris, it was the Gold Star families. With Trump, with the Arlington visit that they invited him to, and then Megyn Kelly did this incredible interview with soldiers that are retired, that served with Tim Walz, and the guy that replaced him as the command sergeant major when he cowered out and didn't go to Afghanistan with his men and abandoned them. And it was brutal. And, you know, they've got just a few short weeks now until the debate with J.D. Vance. And the stolen valor that he was involved in, on top of the fact that he's just a coward. I mean, that he, you know, all these other things, the tampon, all that. Since Tim Walz was announced as the running mate for Kamala, it's been, 4 weeks, 5 weeks? There's not been a single day that there has not been at least one negative story about him. Most days, it's been multiple negative stories, okay? But the stolen valor is one of those things that you just can't get over. You know, in this country, stolen valor is one of the most nonpartisan violations that a person can make. No one likes stolen valor. It's a bad one. On top of the fact that he abandoned his unit and left them when they got deployed, and some of the guys in his unit that were under his command didn't make it back. And he spent years giving stump speeches talking about being in Afghanistan. He talked about being on the runway and all this stuff and Bagram, all that stuff. And that's just something you can't get beyond. He tried to address it on that CNN interview with Kamala last week with Dana Bash, and I don't know who came up with his story that it was bad grammar. His wife's a school teacher, and she says he's not good with the grammar. How does bad grammar turn into you serving in a combat zone, right? I mean, that's bad. And the debate with J.D. Vance is going to be devastating. The debate with J.D. Vance is going to be one of the most devastating vice presidential debates in history. You know, vice presidential debates, there's always only one, and they're not that eventful. The presidential debates are the big ones. The vice presidential debates, thinking back over the years, off the top of my head, I can't think of one memorable moment from a vice presidential debate, really. Can you? Well, there what maybe when I knew Jack Kennedy and you're no Jack Kennedy, was that a vice presidential debate or was that a primary with Dan Quayle? But even so, that was like 35, 40 years ago. We're talking about 40 years ago. That's almost half a century, even if that was even a vice presidential debate. all of the ones since then, can you even remember them? Right? Can you remember Joe Biden and Sarah Palin debating? No. Or Pence and Kamala. I don't remember any of those. Do you? Nothing memorable happens, right? This one, oh yeah, the fly on Pence. Okay, the fly on Pence. People remember that. But this debate is going to be one that he's just going to get his clock cleaned. I mean, there's no way that Tim Walz can go into that debate and walk out not being completely destroyed, just over the stolen valor. I mean, forget about the fact that he's got all these other problems too, but the stolen valor is enough. That's something that he cannot overcome. The only thing, I mean, in fact, it's so bad when Kamala Harris and Tim Walz lose. Tim Walz could find himself in some big trouble in Minnesota. You know, Minnesota, if you notice, there's been a big movement in Minnesota to get rid of him. I mean, they're really mobilizing against Tim Walz, and a lot of the anti-Tim Walz people in Minnesota, they really weren't organized before. They didn't really feel they had any hope because it's such a blue state. Tim Walz is so bad, it is possible. I'm not predicting it, but it's possible that Trump wins Minnesota. If it wasn't for the Somalian vote, he'd probably be likely to win it. But it's in play because Tim Walz and this stolen valor, and he's so disliked in Minnesota. So this debate will be the most devastating debate in vice presidential debate history. So you look at this subpoena today. All of a sudden, how did they get a subpoena to him? He's got Secret Service protection. The people around him are he's surrounded by staffers and fake people that act like he's involved talking to people. How did he get served a subpoena? So is it at all possible? You guys let me know, yes or no, in the chat if you're watching live. If you're not watching live, you can let me know in the comments. Is it possible that they're going to get Tim Walz to jump out of this debate and drop out of the race and plug somebody else in, like the governor of Pennsylvania? You know, because if you notice, President Trump is putting I would say President Trump is putting about 85%. Well, people say it's impossible. They got rid of the nominee and plugged in Kamala, and she didn't get a single vote, right? So if they can do that, they can't replace Tim Walz. So Donald Trump is putting about 85, maybe even 90% of his campaign efforts in Pennsylvania. Everything seems to be revolving around Pennsylvania. The governor of Pennsylvania, he's won a statewide race there. Picking him, which he was at the top of the list in the first place, I don't know how popular he is in Pennsylvania right now. I haven't seen any polls or anything. But I would say it is very possible. I'm not saying it's likely or it's going to happen. I'm not predicting it, but it is very possible that they get Tim Walz to drop out. I mean, this subpoena, they could be coming after him with federal financial crimes with this subpoena today. And plug in the governor of Pennsylvania with the hopes of getting at least a few points to put Pennsylvania in Kamala's camp. I wouldn't put anything past these people. If they take the nominee, the sitting president of the United States, who got all the delegates, and they plug in a person that didn't get a single vote in the primary, they can do it. Believe me. And I know live, someone said the ship has sailed, they can't do it, you know, and all of this stuff. These people don't play by the rules. They make them up as they go. The ballots are already printed. Do you really think that's going to stop them? She's still on the ticket. You know, the internal polls that we are not seeing, can you imagine what their internal polls are telling them right now? Could you imagine? The internal polls that they're looking at right now have got to be beyond devastating. I mean, the polls we have are the publicly available polls, and they have Trump in the lead everywhere. Can you imagine what their internal polls are telling them? It's got to be devastating. It's got to be depressing for them to look at the internal polls. There's no getting around it. And I wouldn't think it so much if Trump wasn't spending almost all of his time in Pennsylvania. That's how important Pennsylvania is. And the governor of Pennsylvania, he's their only hope. Their only hope. The only thing that he's got going against him, and probably has a large reason why they didn't pick him, is because he's Jewish, and they're afraid that it'll alienate their jihadi voters in Michigan that they're trying to suck up to. New Hampshire's not looking good for her. Yeah. No, these are some desperate people. Or have they just decided that Trump's going to win and they've given up? I mean, there was a story I had this morning that I was talking about, which was insane. The Kamala Harris campaign just gave $25 million of their campaign cash to down-ballot candidates. It didn't say which ones, but this close to the national election, presidential campaigns, they don't give away $25 million. They spend it on themselves. So the fact that they gave it away is an indicator that their internal polling is telling them it's hopeless.
Yeah, they're trying to.
They're trying to maintain some control by winning congressional races, some governors, And I'll tell you another thing that's important that people are overlooking are the state governments, because the overturning of Roe v. Wade, there's a lot going on at the state level. So those down ballot races, we don't know if the $25 million went to just members of Congress or not. They didn't specify, but every article I read with every expert said they don't know of any instance where a presidential campaign this close to the election gave away $25 million to anyone. They would use that money to do massive ad buys in the battleground states. And it seems to me that the Democrats have decided that the money is better spent on someone other than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. That it's a waste to spend it on them. That's what it would indicate. And that's not some kind of out-of-the-box thinking. Everybody's saying that. Yeah. Yeah. They have endless money? No, they don't have endless money. No. I mean, we're 2 months away from the election. $25 million, they could have ads, hardcore ads and billboards everywhere in Pennsylvania and in Michigan, where it's really being fought hard. So no, it is, it's a bad sign that they did that. And also, Kamala has been campaigning in what are considered safe Democrat states, too, which shows that they're in trouble. If you notice, here I am in Florida. How many rallies is Trump doing in Florida? Because Florida's safe. He only has so much time, so he's got to spend it where he needs to try to flip, like Pennsylvania and Michigan and places like that. I don't know if he's going to do any events in Florida. I don't know of any that are scheduled. He really probably shouldn't. Fox News, what's my opinion of Fox News? Fox News sucks. That's my opinion of Fox News. Yeah, Florida loves Trump. He may do one symbolic thing here before the election, but I'd be surprised if he did more than one. It's really a waste of time. I'd rather him do another rally in Pennsylvania than do one here in Florida, even if it was down the street from my house where I could just basically walk to it. And I think most people would agree with that. Yeah, he did the one in Doral at his place in Doral not long ago. Yeah, but I'm talking about it from this point forward. You're too close to the election. This is it. And then after the debate next week, Doral's Miami. Doral is in Miami. Doral's a city in the suburbs of Miami. It's down the street from the Miami International Airport. It's Trump's golf club and resort there. But after the debate next week, it's going to be everyday occurrence. And he will probably do, if you look at how many times he's been in Pennsylvania, he'll probably do more events in Pennsylvania maybe than all the other states combined, if you look at what he's doing. Ron says, are you worried yet? You should be. No, I'm not worried, no. I'm pretty confident. I mean, you look at the polls, the trend of all the polls is in Trump's favor. I don't see anything that shows that things aren't in Trump's favor. And you look at the news, I mean, think about all these negative stories about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, right? That's with having the media on their side. Even with the media on their side, every day it's bad stories. I mean, the stolen valor is really bad, but this murder of the 6 Jews by Hamas, one of them an American citizen, and Walz is asked about it right to his face, and he walks away like he didn't hear the question when the person's this close to him asking the question. These are things that people are seeing, and it scares them. No, Rasmussen is giving it to Trump. No, Rasmussen is giving it to Trump. Yeah. No, the trend is most definitely in Trump's favor. Yeah, I mean, and Tim Walz, his own brother. And I'll tell you, I think no one's reporting on this, but I think it's very significant that Kamala Harris's father wasn't at the convention. You know, I don't care if I was in hospice care, if my daughter was being nominated for president of the United States, I would find a way to make an appearance. Wouldn't you? Even if it was on a video watching from my hospice bed. Now, obviously, her mother's gone, but her father's still alive. So why wasn't he there? What there was nothing about. And if you notice, she doesn't talk about her dad. She talks about her mom. She talks about her grandma, but she doesn't talk about her dad. I don't know if I've ever heard her talk about her father. Have you? Well, I don't think I've ever heard Kamala talk about her father. Now, again, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you would like to support my channel, a great way to do that is go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. Free shipping on all orders over $75. And huge discounts, as much as 80% on some of the most popular MyPillow products. You can get the MyPillow that started it all for $19.98 with my promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. The MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow 6-piece towel set, the MyPillow slippers, the MyPillow pet beds, and much more, just $25 with my promo code KANE at checkout. And remember, you can use my promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, on all the specials at mypillow.com. Well, Ron, if you don't want the MyPillows, I guess you don't want to get a good night's sleep. That's up to you, you know. I like to get a good night's sleep and be comfortable. So go to mypillow.com, use my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, and load up. Now, I got a question about Fani Willis. You know, her daughter, her pregnant daughter, got arrested, right? She had a suspended license, driving around on a suspended license. And I'm sure you guys have seen the police body cam footage. Fani Willis showed up with her gigolo boyfriend, Nathan Wade. Now, maybe I'm not remembering it correctly, but did she not testify under oath, under penalty of perjury, that relationship was over? Didn't she, Kathy? I think she testified. Am I correct about? Did she lie under oath? Did she perjure herself? Yeah. And what kind of pregnant woman is driving around on a suspended driver's license and in her cell phone at the same time? Well, Fanny's got a lot of problems. She paid her gigolo over $700,000 in taxpayer money to have sex with her, okay? So she's got a lot of problems. But I'm pretty sure that she testified under oath that her and her gigolo broke up. Yeah. Well, it's not just a lie. It would be perjury. And I watched the body cam. I'm not going to play the body cam footage. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the clip. Listen. Hold on.
Ended. You left it in August of 2023. That sound right?
That's the hard conversation. That's not the...
We've covered this. Next question.
And you characterized it as a tough conversation, correct?
Yes.
I'm not going to get into the conversation per
You
se.
should.
Well, if he doesn't want to, we won't go there. So, Mr. Sadar, next question.
You know, it's kind of hard to say no when you've got that opportunity. But, All I'm going to say is, was it pre-indictment in this case?
So,
We know the timeline that the indictment was delivered.
okay,
Well,
but,
actually,
and so that
I'll
we're
give you
clear,
that.
the
Okay.
physical relationship ended pre-indictment.
And is that when you were talking about the tough conversation?
But I'm not sure that the tough conversation didn't happen until after, but the physical relationship, so I'm sure if you ask Mr. Wade, because he's a male, he would say we ended June or July, because physical contact ended then. Just in my mind, being a woman, it's over when you have that, like, hard conversation. I just think women and men think differently.
Okay, I mean, what a class act. Isn't she classy? So she said that they stopped the relationship months before the Trump indictment. So why did he just show up there on the side of the road with her, wearing clothes, and like they just got out of bed or were sitting on the couch watching television? Exactly, because she lied under oath. They're still together. No, I'm not related to Jenny Craig. And if you watch the footage, Nathan Wade, I'm not going to play it because it goes on for a long time, but when they showed up with the cops, there's the cop that's talking to them on the body cam. He's white. You can tell because you can see his arms. And Nathan Wade starts being the attorney for his sugar mama's pregnant daughter that got arrested. He starts arguing the case on the side of the road. He says, "Why did you pull her over? Why'd you pull her over?" And he told him, he said she was on the cell phone, which is illegal in Georgia, and they ran the plate and saw that the owner of the vehicle to the plate had a suspended license. So they pulled her over. Yeah, so, you know. I know it is. Yeah, ambulance chaser, that's right. If they broke up, would he be on the side of the road with her, arguing with the cop, trying to get him to release the daughter? I don't think so. Yeah, well, you know, she's not going to get away with what she did. Eventually, there's going to be an investigation into that, and she's going to have a lot of explaining to do. Now, this, yeah, I know, I got this video. Where did they take them from, Kathy? It was from where to New Hampshire? I forgot. Where Kamala, she bussed in supporters from 12 buses. Yeah, 12 buses of supporters from one state to the next to make it look like she has supporters showing up. You know, the thing about the Trump rallies, yeah, they're paid supporters. The thing about the Trump rallies that's amazing, there's not tour buses taking people. Everyone goes on their own. They get there themselves. They drive there in their own cars. I mean, I have been to more Trump speeches and rallies than I can remember. I have never seen a convoy of buses, of charter buses, pull up and people start pouring out. Have any of you? Yeah, okay, they drove the supporters from Massachusetts to New Hampshire. And, you know, a lot of people may say, and there's video of this, it's all documented, that, you know, that Kamala bussed her supporters from Massachusetts to New Hampshire. And a lot of people will probably say about this, well, why did they do this so openly? And it's pretty simple. This is what the Democrats always do. So no one even thought about hiding it because this is what they always do. The only thing that's different is there's a lot of people like you and me that have our cell phones and they record these things and upload it on social media and we find out about these things. The media have known for 50 years, 40 years that the Democrats have been bussing in people from one place to the next to make it look like that Democrat candidate has support when they don't. So they don't even think about, well, we better hide this. I remember in Charlottesville, this came up in Charlottesville. People saw the BLMers and the white supremacists come in on charter buses from the same charter bus company. And this parade from Massachusetts to New Hampshire, they're in these yellow buses. Why would they hide what they've always done? Because they've been doing this forever, and it's never been shown or reported before. In fact, I would say that this footage is historic. I have never seen footage like this ever be released of them bussing supporters in from one event to the next to make it look like they have support. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk that she's doing well in New Hampshire. If she's doing well in New Hampshire, why did they have to bus in fake paid supporters from Massachusetts and take them to New Hampshire? If she's popular in New Hampshire, wouldn't people just be showing up to see her? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not only that, my wife was just telling me, these are blue states. She can't even have real organic support show up in blue states. Yeah. Well, no. But this video of the buses that's been trending all afternoon on X. And it doesn't matter, you know, this election, one of the things this election is going to show is, does the television news have any relevance anymore? You know, Bill O'Reilly says it doesn't, and it's always, he said the cable news, it's always going to be there in the background as background noise like the newspapers, right? Does the New York Times or Washington Post have any influence anymore, but they're still around? You know, I mean, this video of the buses of the fake Kamala Harris supporters, how many millions of people will have seen that by tomorrow morning, right? Because it's on X. 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million. Millions will have seen it. And the people that are seeing it are people like you and me that follow the news, follow politics, we're likely voters, right? So it's being seen by likely voters, and likely voters, people that are actually going to show up and vote, because so many people don't vote. It's more important for them to see it than anyone else. And it shows that her support is, any illusion of support is 100% fake. Mm-hmm. George says, can I have a shout out? Hey, George. Yes, I'll give you a shout out. But there's probably 5 Georges in the chat room, but I'll give you a shout out. It's you, the one that actually asked for the shout out. Yeah. But, you know, in this video of the buses of the fake Kamala Harris supporters, this will be on television by tomorrow. There's no way this won't be on television by tomorrow. Not CNN or Fox will have to show it. You know, a lot of times, a lot of these outlets, they report things that they really don't want to report because so many people know about them, they have to report them to save face so that they don't look like total fake news hacks. You know, and this is why for years you hear these idiots on The View and other Democrats claim that the people that show up at Trump rallies are fake, that they're paid. How many of you have been paid to go to a Trump rally? If you have, how'd I miss out on that? I haven't been paid to go to one. You know, but they assume that all the Trump rallies are filled with paid fake supporters because that's what they do.
That's about 700 people.
700? Yeah, my wife said it's 700 people in those buses. 700. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. Yep. Trump Vans 2024. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, okay? And if you've already subbed to my channel, could you do me the favor of liking the video, because that helps grow the channel. Thanks, guys, for watching. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll see you next time, all right? Take care.